Hello everyone, in this video I'll show you how to replace a fuel pump driver module on a 2006 Lincoln Navigator. And on this vehicle, the symptoms that I was having that led me to have to replace this module is basically the car stalled on me while I was driving it down the road, and I couldn't get it restarted. It would crank, but it would not turn over. And you can just tell that it was sort of a fuel pressure issue because it was kind of trying to start, but it was kind of just basically immediately stalling, and then after a while it would just basically just crank. You wouldn't even get any attempt to turn over. So basically lost all fuel pressure. So I was also put a code reader on the into the OBDII plug, and I was getting P191 code, which is basically the fuel level, fuel rail pressure sensor is telling the ECM that either the fuel pressure is too low or is too high. And so obviously I think in my case it was low fuel pressure. But the first thing you want to do is, number one, make sure you haven't blown the fuse in the vehicle for the fuel pump, and I'll show you where that is located. That's on the passenger side. In the kick panel over here, there is all your fuses and some relays. In my case, the fuel pump and fuel pump driver module fuse is actually located right here, if you can see it. It's a 15 amp fuse right there. Yeah, and to get that off, there's just a kick panel that you gotta remove. Just comes right off, and then of course there's a cover that you just unclips. And you just want to check you can use like a pair of pliers, just pull the fuse out. Of course, if you want to just check your manual, yours might be slightly different. Mine, it was number 12 for the fuel pump relay, fuel pump shutoff switch, fuel pump driver module, and fuel pump motor. And for me, number 12 was located right there. So for me, that fuse was not blown. So the next thing I wanted to check was, of course, the fuel pump driver module. Now the fuel pump driver module is what controls the fuel pump. The ECM sends the fuel pump driver module signal, and the fuel pump driver module sends out a PWM signal to the fuel pump motor, and it controls basically the speed of the motor and maintains the proper pressure, fuel pressure, to the fuel rail. On mine, the fuel pump driver module is located on the driver's side rear of the vehicle, basically right behind the rear left tire. This is it right here. It's actually behind this bracket. This is a mounting bolt for it. First thing you want to do probably is jack up your vehicle, and so you can get access to these mounting bolts here. There's two of them. There's one here. There's also one right up there. I already have that removed, actually. So first thing you want to do is you got to access the other side of the chassis there on the vehicle, and probably want to unplug the electrical connector on the fuel pump driver module. So before you be able to access that, you're going to have to drop your tire, your spare tire. Your spare tire, you can drop that by accessing this crank here. You just use your lift, some parts from your lift. Just stick this down into the slot here. You just put this in here. Basically just turn this counterclockwise, and it basically drops the tire slowly. Once your tire is out of the way, and you got the vehicle lifted, of course, you can go ahead and get under the vehicle. And this here is your fuel pump driver module. Right here. So you see there's a connector. You want to go ahead and just undo that connector on the side there and pull back. I'm going to unconnect that right now for you. So again, just reach in there. You got to use your finger on this side to sort of press in the release, and then pull back on the connector, and then it just pulls out. And what I found when I took mine off was immediately started smelling sort of an electronics type smell, and you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but that it seemed a little like it got a little hot and burnt right there. There's the connector. You see it's got, I don't know if you can tell, on the bottom there, it looks a little melted, and you can definitely smell it like it got overheated. So basically you're gonna have to remove this, go on the other side. You have access on the other side to the two bolts. Unbolt it, and then you can basically slide this out this way. Once it's removed, you can slide it out this opening over here and pull it down through here. So I'm going to do that, and let's see. I've already got the bolts loose from on the other side, so I'm going to unloosen it. For me, it was just the 8mm socket for both of those bolts to unscrew it. Alright, now that it's loose, I can go ahead and just pull it out. And again, you just pull it out straight over here, and then you can drop it down. And this is what I found with mine, which I was pretty sure this was the culprit of why the fuel pump was not turning on and making any pressure. But yeah, a lot of corrosion, just corroded right through. Big hole in the back of this module. So any type of moisture, water from the road probably got in there and just fried it. So I ordered up a new one, and I'll show you the part number that I ordered. I just ordered on Amazon. Give me 1 second. This is the new one here. It's Dorman part number 590-001, and comes with a new one and some mounting hardware as well. Here's the new part here, Dorman 590-001. Here's some of the mounting hardware that it comes with. There's also these here. I think I'm gonna use these with the rubber mounts, possibly. But we'll see which one works best. But probably the first thing you want to do, and what I did, was just to make sure that this is, indeed the issue. In my case, it looked like I had a pretty obvious issue with mine. So, but you want to go ahead and just plug it. For me, I just plugged it in and left it hanging before I mounted it, and then went ahead and turned the key and tried to start the car. And it cranked right over for me. It turned over, started right up, so I knew this was my issue. But if your module looks fine, it may indeed be your fuel pump that's your issue. Maybe, you know, they don't last